Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Alejandra Montante and this is Living the Life with Fibromyalgia. So in today's how-to video, I wanted to talk about how to decide if you want a dog. So there was 3 things that I should have taken into consideration. 1 is money, 2 budget, and 3 energy. And in all of the things that I will be talking about, mental health is important throughout all 3 subjects. So let's talk about time. So when you think of time, you think of what are the things that take up most of your time. So there's 3 things going on in my life when I did get ARIA. I was a full-time college student. I just transferred over here to San Antonio. I had 1 job, but I would work 5 to 6 days out of the week, 6 hours, and eventually I didn't think on the long term of my university. I know, go figure, right? But I didn't expect to be a part of internships or groups, clubs, extra research projects on the side that I had going on. I wasn't expecting any of those in the long run. I needed her to be a service dog, so that's primarily why I had gotten her. I didn't think on my PTSD in the long terms, such as when I become a senior. I didn't think that me getting 2 jobs, me having PTSD, me having all these other things associated with me wanting a dog would potentially, that would eventually make me feel like a neglectful owner. Not to say she never had a house or an area that had AC, that she always had food. I couldn't kennel train her just because it broke my heart, because I was out all day with both of my jobs, like I said, with school, and when I would come back home, it would be late at night, because eventually I had morning classes, afternoon job, and then night job. And my schedule was jam-packed. And I only had time with her in the morning to take her outside, and at night when I took her outside again. And it was really hard training her. So when it pertains to time, what does your school schedule look like? Do you have morning classes? Do you have afternoon? Or do you have night classes? Or do you have one of those schedules that you pretty much procrastinated to submit your schedule, and now you have just different times out of the day? So now that means that you're going to stay on campus more than what you had wanted, right? So obviously the time that you're going to have with your dog and or pet is not there. And that's really important, especially when you get them as a puppy. They're way more time consuming. They're like babies. So they're going to wake up at certain times. They're going to need to go outside 4 times out of the day. They're going to need it. You can't neglect them, because they're going to show it on how they interact with people, on how they interact with dogs, and how they interact with you. So as you look at your schedule, you might have no free time, or you might have a window, and those are the times when you're going to train her, when you're going to train your pet. However, training a dog, I can't say for other pets, but training a dog, you're going to need to get them tuckered out in order for them to have all their focus on you. And not to say that it's always going to work, but it's highly advised that they are tired before you start before you have like little training sessions. So like I had said, I wanted her to become a service dog, but when somebody had came over to evaluate her, they really thought she was a good dog to be trained. But sending her to a service dog place cost $4,000. And not only that, but he also told me that I was gonna have to continue training her. because all of this is teamwork. They're gonna need to be constantly trained day in and day out because it's routine at the end of the day. So if you really want a dog, you're gonna have to think about, okay, if they're a puppy, they're gonna be everywhere. They're like a little toddler. They're gonna be roaming around. You're gonna have to be after them more so than not. They're gonna be chewing on everything, and you're gonna have to be there so they won't do that. And they'll cry at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're gonna have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So please keep those little inconveniences that are gonna have to be there because they're puppies. Now, if you're getting a rescue, I don't know how that would look like, but I would imagine that you won't have the cryings late at night, or you won't have the cryings early in the morning. But obviously, you would have to train them for your schedule. So you would have to get them ready for the mornings, and if you're here in the afternoon, maybe their bladder's gonna have to wait until the afternoon when you can actually take them out. So it's all based on routine, budgeting. I have 2 jobs. I make a decent amount of money, and I'm able to kind of splurge when it comes to Aria. But that hasn't been the case all the time. The only reason I'm able to do that now is because I'm not in school. I'm not paying for an excessive use of gas. I'm not paying for tuition, for books, for all these extra things that come with being in a university. So that's why I'm able to buy her more than what I used to. So when I first got her, she was a puppy. So I thought they're supposed to eat more, right? So eventually Aria became insanely chunky, but as a furry mom, I didn't see it. I didn't see her get chunks. I just thought that's how her body was. Everybody else around me was saying, dang, that's a thick dog. She's still thickums, but before I would feed her 3 times a day. One in the morning, one when I came to change in between, or if I was home, I would leave her another bowl, and then at night. She would constantly be eating. When they came to evaluate her for to become a service dog, he had told me, obviously he pointed out that she was really big, but not in a bad way. He thought it was really cute. But he also told me that you don't need to feed them 3 times out of the day, and not even 2 times, because their stomachs aren't that big, and especially how big she is, she doesn't need to eat an excessive amount. I just assumed because this is my first dog. So that really did save on food, because I don't like buying her. If I'm not eating bad, then she shouldn't be eating bad. That's not to say that I don't feed her like little chickens here and there, right? Where whenever I'm eating my food, but her food is also going to be high quality, not like super expensive, way out of my budget type of food, but the ingredients, the first couple of ingredients are going to be chicken, are going to be protein rather than wheat and or other ingredients that's not the best for animals. So that really did save me a couple of bucks. So when you're thinking about getting a dog, food, puppy pads when they're puppies, that's how you're going to start training them. You're going to see like little patterns of where they like to pee. So you're going to want to put the puppy pad there so you could train them to pee on the puppy pad. So you're going to invest in those. You're going to invest in shots. I did mine not through a veterinarian, but through a mobile shot place. You can look those up online, and they are way cheaper than actually going to a vet. So then you're gonna buy them a bed, you're gonna buy them toys, you're gonna see that they don't like the toys, you're gonna see that they don't like the bed. So then there goes wastes and wastes of money. But because all dogs are different, all pets are different. Some really like certain things and others really hate those certain things. So you're gonna be able to see their personality, but you're gonna be spending money to see what that personality is and how you can keep them entertained and what foods do they like, what treats do they like. And then you also have to think about the extremes. So what if she gets sick? I had already thought about it. If she gets sick, I'm gonna have to pay because I love her unconditionally. I thought everything was going great. She was a puppy. I was still I think this is the last day I was trying to kennel train her, and I come home from a long it's 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I come home and I open the kennel and she grabs her toy and she's jumping around like nothing is wrong with her. And then all of a sudden she starts gagging and then she vomits. I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't think about it too much because maybe her tummy's upset. So then she goes to the puppy pad and she does her business, but there's blood. And I'm like, okay, that's really not good. And then she jumps on the couch and I'm on the floor picking up the vomit and she just spews vomit. Think about The Exorcist if you've ever seen the OG Exorcist. She spews out vomit and I immediately freak out. And so now I know I'm going to have to go to a vet. Like now. I don't know what's open. I hope something's open. I'm on the verge of crying. I'm panicking. I can't lose Ari. And so I call up different places and they eventually tell me that there's an emergency clinic. And so I'm on the phone with my ex-boyfriend. I'm crying. I'm telling him my concerns. I'm livid. I cannot think straight. And then finally, when they get to me, they give her IV. They're telling me about like all the tests that they can run, and just the IV alone, just the visit there, it was $200 something, and I couldn't at the time because I had just paid for college, which was $1,000 something, and I thought to myself, I'm going to see how it goes for about a week. My ex-boyfriend told me to treat it as parvo. So parvo is something that puppies get and it's really deadly to them. So their tummies are really sensitive and you're not supposed to give them solid foods. It's all supposed to be fluids. So I bought her broth and that's all she was drinking for the next week. And obviously, like any hydrating products I could get. The whole point is that I spent $200 something just flat. And I was willing to spend that much money and more if I were to see her condition getting worse. Because testing was going to round it up to 3 to 4 to 5. It's not cheap to test out your pets. Make a plan on how that would look. Figure out how much you spend on gas. Figure out how much your rent is. And all of this is from somebody who has been living on their own for the past 3 to 4 years. If you're living at home and you can do all these things, like you're not spending an excessive amount of money, I think it would be easier for you to do it. However, you would also have to look at your time. And also when it comes back to training, yes, I had mentioned time. But when you're going to adopt a dog, in some areas, I don't know about all, but the ones that I went to before I got Aria, they were actually offering training lessons. So if you were to adopt in that adoption area, shots come included with the adoption, everything. Now, the most important topic, your energy. As we all know, when it comes to our fibromyalgia, our energy fluctuates throughout the day. You need to know, or you need to be more aware if you are the type of morning person, once it hits a certain time, you're just depleted from any form of energy. So I want you guys to think about your pains. What hurts the most? Back then, my biggest flare ups were on my hips, my knees, and my wrist, my left wrist to be specific. So think about these areas. How do they affect your mobility? And I'm pretty sure they can stop you if you are having these flare ups. With Aria, she was a puppy, so honestly, I wanted a medium sized dog. That's what I came into because she was going to be my service dog. My PTSD did not let me feel safe in any area of my life, so I thought she would be my protector. If you guys have seen Game of Thrones and know Arya Stark, that's exactly who she's named after because she was going to protect me. Anyway, so when I got her, she wasn't on a leash. Since she was a bigger dog, she would jerk, right? She would pull me, and it would hurt my wrists. It would start hurting my shoulders, my elbows, my knees, because she would abruptly pull, and I would have to try to hold her or to resist the pulling. My feet, just a multitude of things, obviously, because fibromyalgia is a widespread pain, but this is an accumulation of your mental health. This is an accumulation of your jobs, your college, your everything on your plate. Falling into this moment of taking her outside falls all in the moments of you guys interacting, because they're going to want to run around. They're going to want you to throw objects across the room. And I try my hardest when I come home. I try to wrestle with her as much as I can, and I try to throw her toys as much as I can. But as soon as certain parts of my body flare up, that's when I decide to stop. So you really need to think about if you're up for that. If you're up for having those moments of how to train her better. And it's going to be a lot of patience. It is. Now she doesn't automatically run out of the door. She sits, waits for me to let her go, and I just pretty much hold her on a finger. Some days she'll be more excited than others because she's been indoors for so long and she hasn't gotten like a good walking. But for the most part, I can hold her with my finger, and if I stop, she stops. And but that's patience. And that was honestly once I graduated college, that I had more time to put into her training. And our mental health, sometimes it's going to be very hard to train them because we're just gonna pop off and we're just not going to want to deal with anything. And somebody who deals with PTSD and borderline personality disorder, it was honestly so painful to see Aria not getting the full exercise she needs, or the big enough area she needs. And it was just a mental game, and it would really affect my fibromyalgia even more so, because at this time I was still going through therapy and I was still trying to figure it out. And I just honestly threw myself into a whole new world, pretty much, that I just thought I needed to do, and I didn't give myself time to really think about all these things. I threw myself in one thing after the other, and then I got Aria, and then I continued to do so, and it wasn't okay for her. And like I keep on saying, it's not like she didn't have food, water, a nice area, but she needed me. And now I have the time to be with her. I have the money to spend on her. And I know my body well enough. Overall, I think you should get a pet when you're ready. I just got her because I needed her. And boy, did I need her. Ever since she was a puppy, she came up to me and started nibbling on my hands. She's always had a thing for hand nibbling, but that's how she gets my attention. And when I say attention, it's when I'm having major breakdowns. The most important thing that she's ever taught me is to live in the now. Because they're really good at that. They're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about the past. And as humans, as somebody who deals with mental issues, as somebody who deals with fibromyalgia, you're thinking about everything. But if it was up to you, you definitely would have done those things. You would have done the things that you wanted to. And that's awesome. That is so awesome that you would have done it. But the thing is that you can't control this. And it's okay. And that's exactly what Arya has taught me. So how to decide? Keep those 3 things in mind. Time, budget, energy, and overall mental health through your journey of deciding if you want a dog or not. I say do it, but do it when you're ready to commit to something, because they'll seriously help you out with prioritizing what you want and being right here with everybody. I hope that was informative. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you guys this Saturday. Alright? Have a wonderful rest of your week. Make good choices. Continue being awesome. You are loved. You are worth it. Bye.